Hi, Odyssey Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a comedy drama movie named Senior Year. The film starts with Stephanie, a woman in her middle years, going live on Instagram. She's about to share something important, and her followers are eager to hear it. Then, we flash back to when Stephanie was celebrating her 14th birthday with family and friends at a bowling club. She talks about how hard it was to move from Australia to the US and how tough it was being a foreign kid who everyone teased. Stephanie also says her main goal in school was to become popular. While Steph enjoys herself with her friends, she notices a popular guy named Blaine and feels captivated by him. However, he's with his arrogant girlfriend, Tiffany. Despite this, Steph bravely asks them to join her birthday party. But Tiffany mocks the party and takes Blaine away. Feeling frustrated, Steph promises herself she'll do whatever it takes to become popular. Over the years, she works hard and becomes the leader of the cheerleading squad. Now, Steph has many friends and has even started dating her crush, Blaine. In the next scene, a 17-year-old Steph is getting ready for school while her best friend, Seth, waits downstairs. It turns out Seth has a big crush on her, but he's too scared to tell her. Before she leaves, Steph's dad, Jim, gives her a dress her mom left for her before she passed away. Steph gets emotional and decides to wear it to the upcoming prom in a few days. On her way to school, Steph passes by the house of her idol, Diana Russo, who was the prom queen in '95 and seems to have the perfect life, beauty, a nice home, and a handsome husband. Steph feels jealous of Diana Russo's seemingly perfect life but remains hopeful that one day she and Blaine can have something similar. Later, she talks with Seth about the upcoming prom and how much she dislikes Tiffany. Steph is confident she'll be crowned prom queen and has planned an after-prom party at her friend Martha's lake house. During class, she learns that Tiffany is also hosting an after-prom party, which makes her jealous. Steph confronts Tiffany in the restroom, and they start arguing. Later, the Bulldogs cheer squad is gearing up for a practice session in front of the whole school. Martha, who's in charge of equipment, tries to give instructions, but Tiffany interrupts and bullies her. This angers Steph, and she publicly humiliates Tiffany in front of everyone. After everyone leaves, upset Tiffany starts scheming with two of her friends. Soon, the performance starts, and the squad dances beautifully. Despite their disagreements, both Tiffany and Steph shine, and the audience loves it. Towards the end of the performance, Steph jumps high for her signature move, but sadly, the two girls push the boy who was supposed to catch her. She falls hard to the ground, and the screen goes black. The movie then jumps ahead 20 years to when Steph wakes up from a coma in the hospital. Steph notices birthday presents near her hospital bed, some labeled for a 37-year-old. Confused, she leaves her room and goes outside. She asks the receptionist if there's been a mistake with her room. Suddenly, Steph sees her reflection in a mirror, showing her transformed appearance, and she faints, shocking everyone. Later, the doctor tells Steph that it's now 2022 and she's been in a coma for almost 20 years. Meanwhile, Jim and Martha arrive at the hospital. They're thrilled to see Steph after 20 years. While Jim hugs his daughter, the doctor suggests he take it easy because Martha still has the mindset of a 17-year-old, even though she's now in a 37-year-old body. Jim and Martha decide to bring Steph home. On the way, Steph is surprised to see a smartphone, which she mistakes for a small TV. She's also shocked to learn that some words once considered common are now offensive. Martha then reveals that she's the principal of Harding High School, the same school they both attended. Just then, Steph sees a grown-up Blaine, but he's unexpectedly at Diana Russo's house. Confused, Steph asks her dad to stop the car, but when he doesn't listen, she jumps out. She approaches the house and is surprised to see Tiffany coming out of it. Tiffany is thrilled to have her friend back and reveals that she married Blaine and her parents bought the house for her as a gift. Despite this, Steph still wants to see Blaine, but Tiffany makes an excuse and asks her to come back later. An irritated Steph arrives home, but upon entering her room, she's touched to find that Jim has kept all her belongings. That night, there's a knock at the door, but when Steph checks, no one's there. Instead, she discovers a book left by her best friend, Seth. Opening it, she sees numerous pictures of herself at school. This brings tears to her eyes as she recalls her late mother, who always believed she could achieve great things. With newfound determination, Steph vows to herself that she'll regain her popularity. The next morning, she catches Martha before school and expresses her wish to enroll at Harding High School and finish her studies. Martha tries to persuade her that she's too old for it, but Steph is firm in her decision. Reluctantly, Martha agrees to let Steph return to school. In the next scene, Steph prepares for her first day back at school after 20 years and leaves home feeling confident. However, upon arriving, she notices significant changes. The school has been revamped to be more student-friendly to avoid offending anyone. For example, the list of prom winners has been replaced by artwork because it's seen as sending the wrong message. Just then, Steph runs into Seth, and they're both thrilled to see each other. It turns out Seth is now the school librarian. After some small talk, they part ways, promising to catch up soon. Afterward, Steph visits Martha in her office and asks to rejoin the Bulldogs cheer group. She explains she wants to be part of it to regain her popularity and ultimately vie for the title of prom queen. Sadly, Martha informs her that the school no longer has a prom queen. Disheartened, Steph isn't ready to abandon her dream just yet. She heads to the cafeteria with a petition to reinstate the prom queen tradition. There, she meets 3 students, Janet, Yaz, and Neil, who are impressed by her determination. Steph passes the petition to them, and the 3 happily add their signatures. However, she soon realizes that no one else will sign it unless Bree Loves, the most popular kid in school, does so first. Bree is a social media influencer with over 3 million Instagram followers. She's dating Lance, another popular figure, and together they're considered untouchable in school. Bree joins the group, but when Steph asks her to sign the petition, she refuses, saying she's paper-free. Before leaving, Bree drops the bombshell that she's Tiffany's daughter, which shocks Steph. Later, Steph goes to the playing field and discovers that Martha is now the coach of the cheer group. Janet and Yaz are also part of the team, but their routine seems awkward, which makes Steph laugh. She learns that the school banned all forms of provocative dancing because it was considered offensive to some students. Feeling frustrated, Steph goes to the library and meets up with Seth. There, he enlightens her about the power of Instagram and how it can make someone popular. Excited by the idea, Steph rushes home and asks her dad to get her a phone. Surprisingly, he's already bought one for her, much to her delight. Steph spends the entire night live streaming herself. Now, her sole focus is to gain more Instagram followers. The following day, Steph and some classmates gather to study at Janet's house. However, Steph's mind is solely focused on winning the title of prom queen. She gives her friends an inspiring speech about becoming popular and even gets them to dance along to her favorite moves. In the next scene, Principal Martha hosts a ceremony attended by students and parents. She then hands over the podium to Tiffany, who's revealed to be the head of the PTA at Harding High School. Tiffany, displaying her selfish nature once again, announces that prom tickets will cost a staggering $93. During the Bulldogs dance performance, led by Steph, they initially start with a dull routine focused on equality. However, they quickly switch to a more provocative dance style, surprising the parents in the audience, including Tiffany. Despite this, Blaine appears impressed. The next morning, Steph wakes up to find her dance video has gone viral, gaining her a large number of Instagram followers. She arrives at school with newfound confidence, and everyone seems to admire her. However, Martha accuses her of ruining the ceremony with her erotic dance moves. In response, Steph argues that she's trying to make the school more enjoyable, stating that being in a coma was more fun than attending Martha's school. Meanwhile, an angry Tiffany confronts her daughter and demands that she reinstate the prom queen tradition. She also insists that Bree participates and defeats Steph for the crown. Bree initially refuses, stating she's not interested. However, when Tiffany threatens to ground her, Bree reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, Steph and Seth are on a date, where Steph opens up about her desire to become prom queen. She becomes emotional, reflecting on how her mother always believed in her, making this goal especially meaningful. Touched by her words, Seth decides to be her prom partner and offer his support. The next day, Martha announces that, at Bree's request, the school will reinstate the election for prom king and queen. Steph and her friends are thrilled and begin planning for the event. However, Steph learns that Bree will be competing against her for the crown. In class, all students except Steph receive invitations from Tiffany to an after-prom party. Frustrated, Steph decides to host her own after-prom party. She rushes home and searches her closet for something. After a while, she finds the keys to Martha's lake house, goes live on Instagram, and announces that she'll be hosting a free party after winning prom. In the next scene, prom night has arrived, and Seth waits for Steph to get ready. He has an awkward conversation with Jim, who suggests Seth carry protection. Just then, Steph arrives, stunning in her late mother's dress. Seth is amazed by Steph's beauty, and they take many pictures together before heading to the prom. Once there, Steph notices Tiffany at the voting booth and starts teasing her. She even votes for Bree, expressing her confidence that Bree will win. Afterward, Steph goes outside to start a live stream but runs into Blaine. Blaine begins to flirt with her, but as Steph tries to push him away, Seth catches them. Disappointed, Seth walks away despite Steph's attempts to stop him. Meanwhile, the prom results are announced. As expected, Lance is crowned prom king. However, at the last moment, Bree withdraws from the election, making Steph the eventual winner. Everyone cheers for her, including Bree, but Tiffany is left speechless. Soon, Lance and Steph don their crowns and perform a beautiful dance, captivating everyone present. After the prom, the students head to Steph's after-prom party at the lake house, where they have a wild time. However, Tiffany, still envious of Steph, calls the police in anger at having her plans ruined. The cops quickly arrive, prompting the students to scatter from the scene. Martha arrives and scolds Steph for jeopardizing the school's reputation. She then storms off with Seth, leaving Steph feeling alone and upset. With no other option for a ride home, Steph takes a lift and is surprised to find Diana Russo as the driver. Diana reveals that she lost everything, her husband, wealth, and fame, after turning 30. She expresses regret for being obsessed with popularity instead of focusing on her studies and achieving something meaningful. Hearing Diana's story, Steph realizes her own mistakes. Upon arriving home, Steph removes all her posters, symbolizing her change of heart and determination to prioritize more meaningful pursuits. The next morning, a saddened Steph goes to the kitchen, where Jim lifts her spirits by emphasizing the importance of family and friends. His words encourage Steph to apologize to Martha and Seth. She decides to go live, as shown at the start of the movie, and delivers a sincere apology. Steph reveals that Seth and Martha were her only supporters when she was new in the country. After the stream ends, Tiffany unexpectedly shows up outside and apologizes for all the trouble she caused Steph. Despite the surprise, Steph accepts Tiffany's apology, and the two reconcile. The next day, the school holds its graduation ceremony. All the students take turns going on stage, and when it's Steph's turn, she expresses her gratitude for having a friend like Martha. Then, to Steph's surprise, the entire dance crew, including Tiffany, Martha, Seth, and even Blaine, starts dancing to Steph's favorite moves. Steph can't resist joining in, and they all dance together. Finally, Steph performs her famous jump, and this time, she lands it perfectly. The movie concludes as Steph and Seth share a moment, finally expressing their love for each other. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.